Hello everyone, this is CoolPro195 and I'm making this video regarding the epic return of Crash Bandicoot, announced by none other than Shawn Layden at the Sony PlayStation E3 Experience 2016 press conference. Now what Shawn Layden has mentioned in the press conference is that Sony and Activision have partnered up in order to do two things with the franchise, and those two things are putting Crash Bandicoot in the next Skylanders game, which is Skylanders Imaginators, and that game is coming out on October 2016. And what's even better is that in the following year, which is 2017, Vicarious Visions are joining in with the project in order to make a full remastered trilogy from the ground up exclusively for the PlayStation 4, which is amazing. Now before I go more in depth to what Shawn Layden has stated, I'd like to point out that before the press conference itself, I've been seeing a lot of leaks regarding this kind of information, and the most recent leaks before this press conference was from Crash Mania, as they've written up an article stating that Crash Bandicoot will be in Skylanders Imaginators. Now at that point it just seemed suspicious to me that, you know, they would reveal such information like that 2 days before the event. But then time went on, and the next day I came across more leaked information, and this time stating 3 potential ideas to what they were going to do with the franchise. The first one, as stated before, was to put Crash Bandicoot in Skylanders Imaginators. The second plan, or potential idea, was to make a sequel to PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, which would clearly be PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2, with Crash Bandicoot as a playable character. And the third possibility they stated was that Crash Bandicoot could be getting a brand new game entirely developed by Naughty Dog, the original creators. And looking at that information, it kind of gave a lot of people hope, but at the same time I was like, gotta wait patiently and hope for the best, because we can't rule anything out. I was like, we might as well wait patiently and hope for the best and see what happens in terms of what they have mentioned. But since then the possibilities started growing stronger and stronger, even though before it didn't seem as realistic for Crash to be in Skylanders before. And the reason why I also had that kind of view before was because back in 2013, Toys for Bob, who are the developers of Skylanders games, have previously stated that Crash Bandicoot would never fit in with the universe that Skylanders is based around, which is pretty much basically a spin-off of Spyro. So yeah, they figured that Crash Bandicoot wouldn't fit well in the Spyro universe. In addition to the fact that this would have initially pissed a lot of Crash fans off. But then, as soon as the actual press conference came along, that actually changed some things. That changed perspectives of a lot of people, and then that got me thinking, you know, it can't be that bad for Crash to be put in Skylanders actually, because if you actually take a look at the scenery and atmosphere of the Skylanders Imaginators universe, you'll see that it's actually starting to look slightly more like a Crash Bandicoot universe. I don't know if anyone else has spotted this, but some things that I've clocked is that there are a few elements that remind me of Insanity Island, with all the palm trees and everything. And what's even more interesting is that they actually keep the character design of Crash Bandicoot to conform to the original character design from the PS1 era, which is also how the Crash Bandicoot fanbase would typically prefer the character design for Crash Bandicoot to be. But most importantly, at least they're bringing him back in some way. And also a HD remaster of the original trilogy is also a great way to bring Crash Bandicoot back, or enhance the project, as it were. When I first saw this particular part of the press conference start to develop, I heard the orchestra at the press conference playing the Crash Bandicoot theme from Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped onwards from then. And at that point, when I heard dun 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 dun, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing, and I was, if anything, I was amazed by it. As soon as it started to develop, I was lit, you know. I was lit by the fact that they would actually do something like that to actually reintroduce Crash Bandicoot to the world. I also had the feeling that they were going to use that particular theme in order to start off that part of the press conference as well. So it's kind of like my personal prediction at the same time, that was. But yeah, I was quite lit, and what followed that was even more amazing. The background of the actual stage actually had the whole atmosphere of Insanity Island from the first Crash game, and what followed that was Shawn Layden walking on stage with Crash Bandicoot footprints, and there was a shadow of Crash Bandicoot projected as his shadow, which was really amazing. You saw Crash Bandicoot spin around in shadow form as well, which was quite amazing. And then Shawn made a joke saying that, or somewhat of a joke saying that, well, this time I'm not wearing the shirt, the Crash Bandicoot shirt. But it's true, it's actually happening. We are bringing Crash Bandicoot back. And as he has stated, Skylanders Imaginators is coming out first, as stated before. Now, to be honest, Skylanders Imaginators is more of a side project for Crash Bandicoot, because kind of more of the main focus is the HD remaster of the first 3 games in the PS1 era, which is the original Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back, and Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. And it would be amazing to play those games on the PlayStation 4 entirely rebuilt. I wonder how it's gonna look like. I'm personally excited for that as much as I am for playing Crash Bandicoot in Skylanders Imaginators. I mean, I'm equally excited for both, but slightly more excited for the HD remaster because it's what more of us were expecting, and also since I've been a Crash Bandicoot fan for a very long time, since 96, born in 95. A Crash Bandicoot HD trilogy would have been one of the most favourable outcomes for Crash Bandicoot's epic comeback, and I'm not surprised that Crash is also getting a HD remaster, because a lot of old franchises that came back actually got HD remasters, like Oddworld Abe's Odyssey has got Oddworld New and Tasty in 2014, and the original game initially came out in 1997. And the original game's sequel, Oddworld Abe's Exodus, is also getting a HD remaster called Oddworld Soulstorm next year in 2017, which also ironically marks the anniversary year of Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. What a coincidence. And Ratchet & Clank came out with a HD remake, or remaster, however you want to call it, for the PlayStation 4, and now it's Crash Bandicoot's turn, but this time it's an entire trilogy, a completely Remastered Trilogy, which I believe is the same thing that also happened to Uncharted, that also got a trilogy, and also ended up getting a brand new game afterwards. And since that was possible to happen for the Uncharted series, it could potentially happen to Crash Bandicoot as well. And HD remakes of Crash Team Racing and Crash Bash, both with online gameplay, would also be really sick. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves now. I know we didn't get a proper new game as of this year, but still, a HD trilogy is a wonderful way to celebrate the 20th anniversary of a beloved childhood character that all of us 90s kids love and cherish. And hopefully that is actually the case, instead of all the theories that people have suddenly been pointing out, that Crash Bandicoot being in Skylanders and having a HD remake could also end Crash Bandicoot, which I'm also simultaneously taking into account. However, let's not think negative about this, but actually think more positive and actually hope for the best for an actual new Crash Bandicoot game with a new story and everything. But as of now, we got the best we can this year. The least we can get is Crash Bandicoot to come back. And to be completely honest, I'd rather have Crash Bandicoot coming back one last time than never at all. So I'm really grateful for the HD remaster and the inclusion of Crash Bandicoot in Skylanders Imaginators. Plus, the fact that E3 is so close to my birthday makes Crash Bandicoot's sick comeback feel like a really early birthday present for me. Especially since my 21st birthday is tomorrow on June 15th, 2016. And for further celebration, I might be live streaming Uncharted 4 tomorrow on my birthday on Twitch. It may or may not happen, but feel free to stay tuned anyway, just in case. In addition, I'd also like to know your perspectives from other fans' points of view based on the whole E3 press conference announcement, and what you personally think of how Crash Bandicoot has been announced, or how do you reckon it could have gone better, or whether you really loved it. Feel free to state all that in the comments section, because it'd be really it would be really interesting to know what you think of Crash Bandicoot's epic comeback. And it would also be nice to know whether you're really excited and highly anticipating the future of Crash Bandicoot. Anyways, this wraps up everything I've got to say for now, so feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share it around with other people. And see you lot in my next upcoming project. Greatness awaits. Laters everyone.